Face front true believers, Blue Dragon 5 here, with a merry, marvelous edition of MCU Debates Live. Because after all, it's not really May without a little Marvel, is it? Tonight's terrific topics include the following: Iron Man's finest moment in the MCU, pitch an MCU what if story, and best conversation in the MCU. So without further delay, grab your time bands, your pin particles, and head to the nearest portal because we're marching our way down to the arena! Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen Iron Man armor versus Iron Man armor. You've seen Cap versus Cap, but nothing quite like this in tonight's showdown. In this corner of the multiverse of madness, hailing from Earth 616, sporting the cloak of levitation, a scholar of the Sorcerer Supreme. Put your Ditko hands together for Jacob Gulliver!
Aw, that was such a good intro. I really loved it.
And in the opposing corner, from Earth 199,999, traveling to us via Tesseract, and accompanied by the immigrant song, be warned, this lad's got some tricks up his sleeve. It's Jacob Wile!
Greetings, fellow traveler.
And on my left, as of course, my co-judges, Mickey Fan, Sandy Claus, and the man behind the scenes pulling the puppet strings, Mickey.
Yeah, I'm like, don't let me in with the co-judges, Dragon. I don't have to do any work tonight, and I'm loving it. I'm just here to switch the tabs. Oop. Look, that wouldn't have happened if Tiki wasn't here. Oh my God!
Hey, watch this, folks. Folks, watch this. This is where I make Tiki doubt everything about himself. But if anything goes wrong, so shall it fall on your head, sir.
Yeah, I can prepare. I'm prepared for that.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
All right.
The candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long.
Yep. All right, so folks, how we doing tonight, guys? How we doing?
We're getting by.
Yep.
Yeah, hoping that things start opening up next month. Just got word, actually, that Disney Springs is reopening in May. Just got word May 20th. Got word on that. Yeah, I just got word on that today. So that's slightly optimistic news in the theme park world.
And Shanghai is opening next week.
But
yes.
It's the little things right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Tabby. Tabby.
What?
Why are we on the stopwatch?
All right, well, because I'm waiting for you to go through the rounds, all right, to go through the rules. Go through the rules.
I'm going to say, we have this beautiful kind of main round image here. I just feel we should show off a little bit.
All right.
Anyway, all right. Okay, folks, a little refresher of the rules here. It's for any newcomers. And again, there's a little added spice to tonight's evening because, we've all been sheltered long enough. We got to celebrate. We got to be all merry and marvelous. Okay. So,
Merry
we got 3 rounds. Absolutely. So we got 3 rounds. Of course, 3 questions, 3 rounds. Goes hand in hand there. We're going to reveal our picks. We're going to go to the opening statement once we establish the order of tonight. Reveal your pick. You go to the opening statement. So the nice things about your stuff. Then it's a fight to the fiery finish. My associate R2 here, serving the role as the round bell. When he speaks, everybody shuts up. It's time for deliberation from the living tribunal. That is myself, my 2 cohorts, Santa Claus, Mickey Fan. We're all going to talk. We have kind of this 3-judge system going on here that thankfully we can enact yet again. Basically, it's going to be we're all going to vote for who we think won the round best. If it's whoever got the most votes for the win, we'll get the point.
Tribunal of Shield.
Yes, Tribunal of Shield, sure. Right. Okay, so let's see. So at the end of 3 rounds, we're going to go to our kind of our fan favorite optional feature of the game, the Kirby coin, if you will. Kirby coin, which of course means named after Jack the King himself, Flip a coin. If lands heads, you could get a point. Lands tails, not so lucky. You lose a point. Now, here's where things get a little interesting, okay? Now, here's where things get a little interesting. In lieu of a hidden coin, both players will have... we're going to get a little experimental tonight, kind of phase 4 experimental, if you will, because we're all itching for a phase 4. Might as well get next level with things here. So I call this the wager option.
Oh, God.
Here's what this means, guys. Now listen closely. So after both players, at any point in our game tonight, this can only happen once. After both players have more than 1 point, after both players have more than 1 point, before any of the rounds begin, someone could enact the wager. Now, what this means, it's a one and done. So we're not going to do this all through the night. We're not going to go crazy with it. It's not Jeopardy after all. But what we're going to do is basically if either one of you enacts says, I want to do the wager, the other one's going to have to also pony up as well. You're going to pony up 1 point. That's as much as you can pony up. You can pony up 1 point, which means if you win, you get the round point and one of your opponent's points, which means you get one, your opponent loses one. You have to pony up. And again, so if neither of you want to, you don't have to during the whole game. But again, for the sake of drama, just think about it.
I like that twist, Dragon. That's a good twist.
So at any point during this or the speed round, you guys, but again, just before the round starts, so we know to pony up, okay?
So basically, whoever, if you gamble and win, you can get 2 points. But if you lose, the other person gets 2 points.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it.
All right.
Okay, can I just say that I'm thrilled that at this point we're integrating twists into our game better than Survivor is. Because Survivor's just like, here, have a twist, you have a twist, you have a twist. With us, it's just like, we did the coin for like a year, and then we integrated the hidden coin, and now we're trying this. We're taking it slowly but surely with these twists. I like it.
That we are.
Have you, by the way, speaking of game shows that have changed format, have you guys tried watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lately?
I want to, but I haven't. Any good?
It's entirely different, Dragon. It's an entirely different format. I cannot get into it at all.
Wait, they don't just sit down and pick like a multiple choice question? That's how it's supposed to go.
It's still multiple choice questions, but they don't have the progression. Basically, it's like Jeopardy, where they can pick out what question they want to ask at any time.
Oh, that's
that.
I know. It takes away the whole point of the progression. I hate it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Here's some good news for a change, because I'm tired of all this bad news we're swimming in right now. Inhuman Quake in the comments says Falcon and Winter Soldier should be shooting soon, they said, which excites me to no end. I'm very happy about that.
Nice. So you guys hear about those killer hornets?
And there it goes. All right.
just out here.
Also, Claude Kringa in the comments says Thanos will dominate these debates. That'd be a twist. We'll see what happens.
It would be, yeah. We'll see.
He snaps away half our points.
Oh, God.
You joke about that. Anyway.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
All right. Okay. So I already mentioned
it's like if you get tails on the flip a coin, instead of losing 1 point, you lose half your points, Thanos style.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me with that.
Don't give me ideas.
That's kind of rude, honestly.
Don't worry. I mean, we'll see. Okay. So okay, so the first to 5 points wins the whole game. Just a reminder there, first to 5 points wins. You boys understand these rules as I explained them to you here both this fine evening.
Also, really quickly, we have Executive in the comments here. Executive. I hope I'm saying your name right, because you pop up a lot.
Executive Nehemia.
It's either an egg fugitive or something. I don't know. It's
Executive. It's the Pokemon.
Yes.
It's like Executor, yeah.
And it's like Executive Nehemia says, I am an edible in Human Quake, and I am Iron Man.
These are both excellent statements, and from a really good scene in the movie. Anyway, okay.
Speaking of Iron Man.
Well, first, I still need verbal confirmation, darn it.
I said yes, I was ready.
I know you said Gulliver.
Yes.
Okay, we're all good there. It's main event time, but first, the randomizer. Let's find out who's going.
Gulliver's just like, nah, I'm good.
Nah, that's it. Debate's over. Debate's over.
Well, that was the shortest one in the history of Disney debates, folks. We're gonna go home early. Say hi to your loved ones. No, I'm kidding. Stay where you are, folks.
I win by default.
All right, let's see who goes first.
Oh God! Oh no!
Still loves you, baby. It still loves you. Randomizer one with Jacob Wile.
Oh God!
First. Turn down the charm, my friend. Lady Randomizer is just she's randy this evening. I don't know what to tell you. Okay.
Dragon, are we gonna need are we gonna need Lady Randomizer again this evening?
She's done her service. She can go home early. Okay.
God.
Well, I'm gonna leave him.
All right.
Yikes.
Okay, so as I said, it's main event time. Going to round one. You boys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
All right. Okay. All right, so in honor of Endgame's 1-year anniversary and to commemorate the brave, noble sacrifice that Tony Stark did in the name of all of us, he died for our sins, one could argue. We get to round one. What was Iron Man's finest moment in the MCU? And of course, in provisos here, we are excluding the moment that was just mentioned by our esteemed commenters. We are excluding the world-saving "I am Iron Man" oh snap moment, if you will. We're excluding that one. That one's low off the table right now. Too easy. Okay, who has what?
I have the Grumio rescue scene from Iron Man 1.
I have chosen the plane rescue scene from Iron Man 3.
Okay. All right, opening statement, Jacob Wile.
What's so great about the opening scene? Well, not the opening scene, but the scene in Gulliver where he rescues this terrorist. Basically, Tony Stark, unbeknownst to these people, reclaiming what's his, and basically saving these people from what he's inadvertently caused. It's where Tony Stark finally takes his after his lesson with Jensen, takes his first step in becoming Iron Man. It's not as extravagant as some of the later things he's done, but what it does is it acts as a major stepping stone to what he's eventually going to do. It shows Iron Man just what he's capable of, and basically this is the part where he shines the brightest.
Okay. All right, Gulliver.
My choice is the plane rescue scene from Iron Man 3. And it's a situation where Iron Man is put in a tough situation. He's already been under a lot of psychological stress in this film. And he's forced to choose between the folks who've been thrown out of the plane and trying to make his way through the bad guys there on the plane. But he does end up trying to save the people. And Jarvis quickly informs him that he can only carry 4 of them. And in classic Iron Man style, that's not going to work. So he has to find a different way. And he comes up with a really cool, intelligent solution to lock their arms together using a mild electrical charge, and is able to save all 13 or whatever people that are falling through the magic of electricity and using his brain to solve problems. So yeah, I think it's a really fantastic moment where he does something that has very little in the way of secondary effects, which I think makes it a really important moment, because almost everything else that Iron Man does in the Marvel movies has some sort of secondary effect, because he has, stepped out of turn, or he has done something that was maybe a little rash in thought, because that's who Tony is. That's just part of his personality. But it's a reason that I really like this moment. I think it shows his heroic elements without pushing too far into that territory.
All right, boys. Time to fight it out.
Is this free form, or we have?
Yeah, it is the free form. Those go to try to kill each other. By all means, just verbally, of course.
So as I mentioned, there's there's very little repercussions for doing this scene in Iron Man 3. However, there is an extensive scene with Tony being grilled by members of the Senate in Iron Man 2, referencing how he shouldn't have gone into a third world country by himself and acted as a rogue agent. And it kind of sets up the plot of the second movie, which it in truth is not one of my favorites, but it is an action that is rebuked almost instantly within the MCU because it is such a dangerous act that could be such a strong act of war. And it is definitely selfless what he does, and it certainly impacts those people's lives in the moment. But the area of Gulmira isn't, stable forever after that. It goes back to being unstable, presumably. That one little action meant a lot in the moment, but unfortunately it's not something that I assume has long lasting meaning. And the battle with the tank is rather short lived as well. It's not a moment where he uses his brain to solve a lot of problems. It's mostly just, I shoot the big gun at the bad guy and they can't stop me because they're normal dudes.
Dang. I mean, I didn't think this through.
It is a really selfless moment. I totally am on board with that. I think it's a great moment to watch, but it sets up his, that like moment where he feels like I have no repercussions, and this is like the beginning where like everything he does has repercussions forever.
I can't top that.
Oh, shake it off, buddy. Shake it off. You're good. You're good.
I mean, all right, but that one little moment can mean a lot in the long run. I mean, for all we know, it gave these people hope to stand up to these terrorists.
Fair.
And if you think about it, though, his entire shtick is using his brain to solve problems. That's how he's able to build the suit to begin with. But this also shows that, in addition, it also shows the beginning of his conscience, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. I'm not trying to say because it comes first, but this kind of moment probably wouldn't exist. Your kind of moment probably wouldn't exist if he didn't have that conscience instilled in him because of something like this.
True, but we were talking about the finest moment and not the moment that sets up other finer moments. I believe that was the stipulation.
And that is also true. But what I think this definitely stands out because this is definitely where Iron Man begins to learn and definitely learns his place in the world. And yes, what made them technically the way you see the tank is just like I shoot the gun at the bad guy, but he's just basically using his brain. That's another way of using his brain. He's like basically work smarter, not harder. And he didn't have to work hard to destroy that tank.
But then he chooses not to use his brain, and he says he's all yours and flies away. And then what happens next after that, we don't know because he doesn't seem to care anymore.
Well, everyone else is incapacitated, and they were about to take that guy down, as you could see. They're like, and the guy was fearing for his life because of what just happened.
Sure, but if you look at that from a sociopolitical perspective, it's kind of like if somebody, an individual decided to drop a bomb on another country, and then the other country was like, "Hey, you just dropped a bomb on us." And it was like, and the other country's like, "It wasn't us. It wasn't us as a country. It was just this dude." And then he left, so it's not our problem anymore. They still have to deal with the repercussions of that bomb in that country. It doesn't mean that, the act wasn't trying to serve a good purpose. But ultimately what he's done is he's done something that can't be undone and left the repercussions to somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
It is very much the mindset of a weapons manufacturer to do what he did. I completely agree that it is in character for him to do so, and that it was a selfless act, but I think it was not his finest moment overall.
Yeah. Okay, I concede.
Okay, is that okay? I'm gonna end the round there, but is that a serious concession or?
Yes, that was a serious concession. I couldn't think of anything against mine that could beat his.
Man, that moment, that mic drop moment when Gulliver finished his first opening attack. Oh, that was great.
It was like
Sorry, man.
it's like Ivan Drago Jr. in the Creed sequel, where he just does that like knockout hit to him. Oh god.
I should have gone with the nuke scene.
I mean, Jacob, you tried, like, you picked up for a while there, but you just couldn't keep up that round, buddy.
Your defense was good.
You just kind of got running circles.
I'm not gonna even try and defend myself there.
I mean, honestly, Jay, I think you should have dug in there with the politics of it. Well, he saved those people from getting shot and everything. People were in danger. And he saved the kid and the father. Like,
But like I said, I couldn't really come up with anything against his though.
That's what I'm saying. That was really like he had like nothing. It was like a wet fish, man. Just had nothing to go up against him with. It's. I mean, it's seeing Hercules. You lost the sword, but you had the fish, and it just wasn't going to do you any favors.
Well, I'm feeling more. I feel more confident for the next rounds, though.
Okay. He's feeling confident. That's good. All right. So Jake Belver gets the first point. So right now it's 1-0.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, don't apologize. You're going up against a Marvel expert here. All right. Can I just say I fucking love Loki's hammer here. He looks like he's walking with such swagger. He's like, yeah, I got the hammer.
Well, yeah, thank you. I photoshopped that in.
Yeah, it's glorious, Jacob.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so round 2. All right. So all these delays of MCU Disney Plus shows, they're driving us crazy. They're driving us up the wall. Again, this Winter Soldier news is elation to my ears, but outside of that, I think we're all spinning our wheels and asking ourselves these questions of what if. So I say let's play into that. Round 2. I want to hear a pitch for an MCU what if story. Now, again, to go over this, as I'm sure many of you are aware, we are getting a what if animated show on Disney Plus. Again, probably delayed at this point, but we are getting it. So the forthcoming series has already been approved for a second season. The only confirmed, like we have casting, we can speculate about what episodes we might see. But the only premise that we do know is the whole Peggy Carter as Captain America what if. So that's the only thing we know about. So the parameters were off the chain, as in anything could be pitched within the MCU as a what if story. I think we all love what if stories. So let's see what we're going to work with here. Okay, Jacob Wile.
My what if is what if Loki was able to wield Mjolnir?
Loki with the hammer. Okay. Hey, Gulliver.
My what if is what if the MCU got Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker?
Huh.
Nice. Miles Morales. Okay. All right. Wile. Dazzle us. Opening statement.
All right. We all know what Loki is like in the main universe. He's this conniving trickster, always looking out for number one himself. And who knows then? My question is, what would happen if he had the ability, if he was worthy of the power of Mjolnir? And I think that would be an interesting case study in this character. Looking at what he would be like with the power of Thor, not necessarily Thor, but the power of Mjolnir. Like, what would he do with that power? Would he be the same Loki we know, or would he use the powers for good, or would he be even worse? Let the power drive him mad, even madder than he is? It'd be an interesting case study in how an already powerful character gains even more power, and see how that road takes them. I am.
Okay.
Okay, Gulliver. Morales, go.
So the arc of Peter Parker in the MCU is a really interesting one, and I don't want to take away from that. This is just an alternate idea. I think if we had Miles Morales in the MCU, I think we would see a much more compassionate Tony than we see in the rest of the movies, which is part of why I picked this one. And I also think it would make for some really interesting
hello?
Spider-Man movies. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Can you guys
Yeah.
still hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Dragon was just saying.
Dragon?
Dragon here?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Dragon, you there? Right. Gulliver, you wanna do a promo for Movie Machine
Sure.
while we wait for him to come back?
Yeah, so I'm part of a local collective here in Minnesota called Hot Chocolate Media. We make all kinds of cool stuff. It's actually how I got to know these guys, because I made a web series with a few others called Super Academy. Definitely go check it out at hotchocolatemedia.net if you get the chance. We also do the Movie Machine podcast, which is a show where it's a structured improv where we make up a movie every week based on a random prompt that we generate. There's like an internet generator that makes up plots, and then we have to like craft a movie based on that. And we end up with some really weird stuff. So like we've done like a Craven the Hunter movie. We've done like a live action Calvin and Hobbes movie. We've done like, corporate shitty movies too, like Monopoly. We made a Monopoly movie and like all kinds of really silly stuff. If you like us, feel free to check us out. We have a Patreon as well. And I've been putting up fake movie posters for some of our movies, so you can see some of those. But really, we're just glad when people tune in and check us out. So if you're feeling like you need some new content and would like to take a listen or a watch, feel free to do so.
All right. Dragon dropped out, so you know what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and fill his space for this round. And if he comes in and we need to reiterate any points, we can for him. But I think just to keep the ball rolling, because we've got a few people here in the audience, we should probably just move forward. I'll take his place, and I'll do the judging at the end of the round. So, wait, hold on. There he is. Dragon, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about
Hooray.
that, folks. Little blipped out of existence there for a bit, but I'm back.
It's all good.
5 years
We
later.
had time to get a movie machine.
You got
promo
snapped
in
and
there,
unsnapped.
so.
Yeah, you got snapped and snapped.
Yep,
Oh,
sorry
Dragon, by
for-
the way, it's 2025.
Yeah, well, good news is hopefully Falcon Winter Soldier's.
I mean, this is a marathon podcast.
And Moon Knight.
We've broken the Guinness Book of World Records many times over for the longest running podcast, longest running single podcast.
At least the wait for everything's over.
Oh no, didn't you hear, Dragon? Sand people now, that's who we worship.
Does that mean we have to build like a monument to Sandy or something?
Hail Vectron.
Oh, we're way past that.
Oh god. Anyway.
Okay. Circling back, Gulliver, would you be able to kind of do your pitch over? Is that okay? Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
I only
Gulliver
got a
just
little
got
ways
started.
in, so
Yeah, he's fine.
So essentially, I want to make it clear that like Peter's arc in the MCU is fantastic and is really interesting. I don't want to detract from that. This is not a dump on Peter Parker. This is just an interesting what if. I think if we had Miles Morales in the MCU, we would see a more compassionate Tony. We would see a Tony who's maybe a little bit more relaxed by the age of Infinity War and Endgame than he was beforehand. And that's part of why I chose this, because I wanted to examine that relationship with Tony a little bit. Well, there are lots of really interesting things about it as well. So Peter is a tech genius the way that Tony is. And Miles isn't necessarily that same level of tech genius, but he is extremely creative. He's extremely passionate. He throws himself into danger the same way that Peter does. but he also has this really creative mind for problem solving that I feel like Tony would respond to in a different way. You know, seeing the Spider-Man in the early days of like Civil War, where he's, you know, just like the kid in the suit and like people don't really know who he is, but he gets the Stark suit. That would be completely foreign experience to Miles, and he might, you know, get into space where, you know, he doesn't really, and kind of the way that Spider-Man was, where he's like, you know, this is strange. I'm battling Captain America and stuff, but Tony says I'm supposed to, so I better do it. Miles wouldn't have that like fanboy quality. So he might almost act as more of like a mediator, you know, late in the movie at that point, where he's like, you know, I appreciate that you brought me here. You want me to fight, but like, it's clear that there's some beef going on that I don't understand. And like, you know, you guys are friends. You got to work this out. I also think that like Peter's growth and then like rapid death when he snapped in Infinity Wars, spoilers, that like moment would be really different, because while Peter is kind of like this, you know, insert for a son in that moment where he feels like he's lost his own kid, I think Morales would be more like he lost somebody else's son. He lost somebody's kid that, you know, he took under his wing and shepherded, but was not really his own. I feel like that guilt would be different. He would see it as something that's outside of that. I also think that like his general like chill attitude would be kind of like a calming effect on Tony, or Tony is like so intense, and Miles can be intense too, but that would be really fun. In terms of the Spider-Man movies, and forgive me if I'm going too long, but I really like this idea. I feel like the second Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, would be super different because Miles is a lot more suspicious. He's a lot less naive than Peter is. So I feel like he would suss out Mysterio fairly early, and I would almost switch up the situation where like he's trying to tell Fury like, hey, this dude is a hack. This guy is fake. And Fury's like, what are you talking about? He's got all this good information. That would be a really fun version of that movie. Like, it would change the way that it looks, but like, you know, and you could almost sell it the same way where like, you know, he finally like was like, all right, you proved your worth, whatever. Here's the Stark satellite shit. And then it like turns and he's like, I told you, I freaking told you. And that would be, you know, like a good time for them to reveal that the Fury in that situation was not Fury, because of course Fury would have known in either case. But that would be that'd be a really fun take on that, that I really love. In terms of Homecoming, I feel like you could, you know, make the Prowler part of that, you know, a more powerful part of that commune with the Vulture. You could have a two enemy movie, and Tony is really more just like, instead of like, you know, babysitting from a distance the way that he does, he could be a lot more like, okay, this is your time to shine on your own. Don't come find me. And then like, you know, almost when he does come to find him, instead of snapping the way that he does at Peter, I would almost see with Miles just like, you know, hey, leaning towards that compassionate side, because, you know, Miles feels like he's failed and he needs, you know, somebody to talk to. I think that would bring out, you know, a more tender side of Tony that would be really interesting. So overall, I think it would be something really cool to explore as a concept. And again, forgive me if I'm talking too long. I love that idea.
All right.
Dragon? Oh, shoot. Dragon dropped in and out again.
Yo,
Dragon, are you there?
yes,
Oh,
I've here. I've been listening to Gulliver, but I've been
Oh, thank
here.
God. Okay. So you heard all of Gulliver's stuff?
Yeah, yes, I did. Yes.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Oh my God, that would have been awful.
It's like,
Waiting for you to tag me back in, but I've been
Okay.
I've been here.
Okay, sorry about that. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
What do I think?
No. I'm saying, what do you guys think? Fight it out. Like,
Yeah, fight
who's
it out.
gonna
Time
go
to
first?
fight it out, guys. We'll
This
rumble.
is Star Wars. Do I go first? Do you talk first? What's going on here?
Well, it is May.
Right?
That is true.
So I would like to call out two specific moments in Thor Ragnarok. One is the line, "Are you the god of hammers?" And that in that moment, Thor realizes that the hammer is not the important part of the equation; that his thunder is the important part of the equation. The second is if the premise is that we give Loki more power, we've already seen that happen at the end of Thor: The Dark Worlds, and then continuing into Thor Ragnarok, where he's pretending to be Odin and putting on the little play with the tragic death of himself in it. So I don't know that the hammer adds much to the equation of Loki in terms of the trickery aspect of him. I just think he would swing it less efficiently than Thor would, because he's not a beefy dude.
Well, that might. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. The hammer can be a source of power, but not necessarily, though. In this case, though, it basically, though you do raise a good point, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. He can actually he'd be able to use the hammer, and that. Okay, like I said, you do raise a good point, but just because he had the hammer doesn't mean he would actually become like the lazy king that he did in Thor Ragnarok.
So what is the exciting part of the what if element that you're proposing?
It's basically just what would Loki do with the hammer? Yours is all I got was yours, like basically Peter Parker stuff with Miles Morales. Basically, and honestly, with yours, I don't really see Tony be behaving much different than he did with Peter Parker. I mean, in my honest opinion, he'd probably be behaving the same, just Peter Parker would instead be Miles Morales.
To me, the journey that they show in the MCU with Tony and Peter is that he's finding this sort of surrogate son. He sees himself in Peter, and I think the difference with Miles is that he wouldn't necessarily see this like tech prodigy. He would see this kid who's talented in a different way than he's talented, and he wants to see grow and foster.
And that's exactly what happens with Peter. I mean, Peter isn't exactly a Tony Stark either. Miles Morales, I mean, it's just a different kind of creativity.
Sure, but people do respond differently to different people. That's how it works. I mean, we have people that we like. We have people that, we treat a specific way, and we have people we treat a different way. And that's just a matter of like the people you build bond with. Some people you build bonds with in one way. Some people you build bonds with in other ways. I think Miles would be interesting because he doesn't come with the baggage of having to be that next Tony Stark the way that Peter does from the very beginning. I think that would be an interesting relationship to explore. But so far, your pitch has just been, what if Loki was just Loki, but he had an extra weapon? And that doesn't seem to add anything in terms of story or emotional character development. Doesn't add any of the things that make you care about the character. You've just given him an extra equipment slot.
And like I said, all yours is just a basic character swap. Here's the thing, though. Peter Parker. Here's the thing with Miles. It's like, if we follow the comics, which a lot of these things are doing, Peter Parker already had to be part of the story to become Spider-Man. I mean, sure, that could probably be changed for the MCU, but that's the thing. Where would Miles Morales get all this stuff, and how would he come into contact with Tony Stark and all that? Well, I mean, Peter Parker
in the comics, it's similar to the way that it happened with Peter.
But yes, Peter was already part of the story. Peter had to die for Miles Morales to take his place. So that means he would already have to be part of the story.
I mean, if you're saying that the movie has to be like the comic, there's a lot of times where that didn't happen. You have yet to tell me anything new that happens in your Loki plus Hammer adventure. I have told you a number of new things that happen in Miles Morales in MCU.
Well, here's the thing. What kind of effect would this have on Thor? I mean, but the thing is, Thor doesn't learn that lesson until Thor Ragnarok. So the thing is, if Loki has the hammer, it would also be interesting studying how this affects Thor. What if Thor could go down an extremely different path, like even a very darker path, if basically become a darker version of what he was in the original movie?
I feel like Thor is kind of like, a big dumb dog that is very loyal and like sweet at heart, but is also kind of a butthead that runs into stuff. So I don't really see that like darkness in him that you're describing. He more kind of goes where he goes in Endgame, where he's like, he kind of dissolves into depression and just kind of feels like that wounded puppy who's not really getting the love he was expecting. Well, but I don't really know if we're getting this switch that you imagine.
This is all under a what if, though. Remember, all this stems back all the way from childhood. It's a ripple effect. It could have various different effects on him. If that the kind of thing set in sooner, that would be the birth of a new villain. I mean, it's happened before with Thor. Thor's become brutal, become dark. It's not exactly out of the realm of possibility, and there's times where Loki has gone good, not necessarily because of the hammer, but the hammer, in the case of the MCU, would be an interesting catalyst for that.
I still think that's less interesting than Miles.
Like I said, Miles is still basically just a character swap. I mean, like I said,
but
honestly,
that's not necessarily true.
In the MCU, I just don't. Like I said, I still don't see Tony interacting any differently than what he would do is if Peter was there. It's basically maybe just like a slight difference, but not much.
So either if you have siblings or if you have friends that have siblings, if you have cousins, imagine how the parent treats the different children. They each have their own interests. They each have their own personalities. They each have their own different things they do. And yes, they're all part of the same family. But I feel like there is a difference between those. And I feel like there are times when, that parent figure is going to be more sympathetic. There's times when the parent figure is going to be more hard because they want to, achieve a result from that kid. And I think Peter really gets the raw end of the stick of it a lot because he is, Tony really wants him to be the next Tony Stark. But I don't think he would see that in Miles because Miles isn't tech savvy. It's not established in the comics. It's not established in the Sony animation movie that he's super tech savvy. He's just this creative kid who really wants to, be a good guy and make a difference. And he wants to be like Spider-Man. And I think that's something that would, that would make Tony respond differently. If you're saying that it's just a swap out, I mean, I did give elements of plot for, incorporating the Prowler more heavily into Homecoming and changing up the way that Far From Home plays, in the sense that the relationship between Miles and Fury would be different than it is with Peter and Fury, and he would be trying to convince everyone of this, but he'd be kind of the boy who cried wolf in that scenario. That could also make a really interesting movie. In that case, the movie is almost completely different aside from like 3 or 4 major plot beats.
Okay, I think I heard enough. All right, Sandy.
Well, these are both really good. I honestly had never considered what Miles would do in the MCU. And These are both very good arguments. I think it's better than the last one. um, I'm gonna go with Miles. I just think it was a really kind of elaborate and well thought out, kind of unique perspective on how Miles would fit into that world, because Miles is very different from Peter, and I think the outcomes would be a lot different. Maybe Miles wouldn't be a part of the snap. Maybe he wouldn't die, and how would that affect things? So it's just really interesting. I think it was very well thought out, and
Okay, Mickey fan, what's your ruling?
I'm gonna give it to Loki. These were both really, really good arguments, but I felt like for Miles, you were more talking about the MCU as a whole and how that would have changed when we're talking about What If. And those are two very, very different levels of argument. But I think for the actual prompt and for where he was going with it, especially with the idea of the hammer as a catalyst for Loki, the hammer being symbolic. I think I thought that was a much better argument made, especially for an episode of What If.
Okay, it's kind of deadlocked right now. I'm gonna have to rule based on the based on the argument, or based on kind of the competitive kind of pitches, as it were. I'm gonna go with Gulliver. I'm going to rule in favor of Gulliver on this one. It's honestly, it's more so the fact, I think he started off with kind of a brilliant strategy, and like the whole God of Hammers point, and the fact Loki, we've seen Loki in power.
I accept this ruling.
All right. Honestly, if it were me, I would have gone with Jacob on the same basis of.
Wait. Which one?
Jacob Wile.
Ah.
Dragon's cutting out. You guys hear that, right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. I think he's saying my name.
Dragon, we can't hear you, buddy. You're really cutting out there. Oh God. Sorry about this, folks. Dragon, hello.
Dragon is malfunctioning.
He really is.
Somebody call Tony Stark. Wait, he's dead.
All right, but honestly, I do think that Jacob Wile really stepped up his game this round, and I feel like Mickey fan said, I feel like Jacob Gulliver was more pitching like a whole like alternate universe of film series. Like, I understand you can show like different pieces and events of the three movies, but honestly, I feel like Wile had a little bit. Oh God. Dragon, you need to go out and come back in or something, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. You're like really, really breaking up. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go to the comments actually, because the comment section has been pretty active here. So, guys, sorry while we get this stuff sorted out with Dragon. Inhuman Quake has some exciting news. He says it just announced that WandaVision finished filming, which is really exciting because for me, out of all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, WandaVision is like by far the one I'm most looking forward to, just because of how unique it is in terms of
I'm
go ahead.
so freaking excited for WandaVision for so many reasons.
Should be pretty cool.
One,
And it's funny because I don't even really care that much about Wanda or Vision as characters, but just like the concept of the show itself really sells me.
well, yes, the concept of the show, and also Wanda has been constantly given the short end of the stick when it comes to screen time and development and all that. And I am so excited to see her finally takes center stage because she's had so much groundwork laid out for her
Mhm.
that I'm just so prepared for them to finally embrace her for the awesome character that she is.
Sure. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Honestly, I would maybe put this moment as like a top 5 MCU moment for me.
You
The,
will?
no, not the yell. The moment where she confronts Thanos and Thanos is like, I don't even
Yes,
know who you
yes.
are. You will.
Yes, that.
Oh
that,
god, that's awesome. That is kick ass right there.
You know, I think I have thoughts about Endgame as a whole that we don't have time to get into right now. But like what they did with Wanda was just perfect.
All right, let's see. People are talking about Big Hero 6 crossing over with Marvel, and yeah, I agree. That
I
sounds
can
like
see it.
a good idea.
Well, technically, they kind of are already Marvel.
True. Let's see. Before I invite Dragon back in, I'm just going to go through these comments here.
Did you guys know that the plot of Big Hero 6 is just Iron Man 2 again?
You mean the plot of the comic book?
No, the plot of the Big Hero 6 movie is basically
the
just
Big
Iron
Hero
Man
6
2
movie.
again. So
Yeah, I could see
a
it.
tech prodigy with a dead mentor who is trying to receive knowledge from them and must team up with his friends to defeat a blue-collar scientist and a white-collar scientist. It's essentially the same plot.
I've never been a
Yeah,
big
but
beer.
one did it well and the other did not.
Fair.
I don't think Big Hero 6 did it that much better, to tell you the truth. I'm more of a fan of the Big Hero 6 series than I am of the movie, to tell you the truth.
Oh,
All right, Dragon?
Yes,
there?
Gulliver blowing our minds with this Big Hero 6 stuff, man. I never thought of it that way, but now my head's spinning. It's like, I never thought of it.
Just watch them back to back. The beats are all the same. It's really fun.
just nuts. Anyway.
All right, let's get on with it, as Monty Python would say.
Okay, round number 3. Okay. All right, so I think many a time in the MCU we applaud spectacle, but we should never glaze over the the intimacies of character and character development. I find that to be kind of an ever-present truth in the MCU. We have a lot of great character-based stuff, so that brings us to round 3. What is the best one-on-one conversation scene in the MCU? As in, it's two characters having a little conversation, not a whole group discussion, just two characters. Those were the parameters. Let's see what we got cooked up here.
Hey,
Jacob
Dragon,
Wile.
I have a question about this question really quick.
Yes.
Would the Netflix stuff have applied?
I would have. As far as I'm concerned, until they prove me otherwise, it's in the MCU. All right. So.
Man, I just want to throw this out there right now. You guys have really good picks, and I love that we're having a Cap Tony versus Cap Tony. But I would absolutely pick the one-on-one Daredevil and Punisher with Daredevil chained to the roof. I would absolutely pick that one-on-one conversation.
That is a really good one for sure.
It is.
All right, and guys. The howl's going on, so I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone.
All right. I went with Tony trying to convince Cap to sign the Accords in Civil War.
And mine is the wood chopping scene in the middle of Age of Ultron.
And really quick, neither of you would want to go in on what is it, Dragon?
I don't think
the
it's
wager. Yes.
I don't think it's very sporting. So
they both.
Not.
I don't have anything to wager.
That's the thing. They both need at least 2 points, Tiki, before that can even work. They both need more than
they
one.
Both need at least 2 points.
Yeah, I'm saying so they could wager. So right now, you can't wager anything.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
I'm saying he's not on the board yet.
We need at least one. Each person needs at least 1 point.
Gotcha. Sorry.
And I see Gulliver doesn't want to invoke the wager, so all right.
Yeah,
Gulliver just puts Jacob Wile down -2 points.
Don't give me any ideas. I'm letting
Oh
it.
God.
That's not sporting. I'm not going to do that.
I know. I'm kidding. Okay, Jacob. Wile, hit us with it.
Like, what's so interesting about this scene between Cap and Tony is that it's basically this point in this film, basically the point in the film where you realize that both are right in some ways, both are wrong in others. Neither of them are gonna budge. But basically, this is the point where Tony almost succeeds, but he fails the moment he mentions Wanda. Basically, this scene is one of the crutches of the movie, in my opinion. It basically, without any violence, just words, shows that these two are on opposite sides of the spectrum, and aren't. Basically, it's the ultimate test of their friendship, and basically probably one of the most intelligent scenes in the entire MCU, psychologically, dialogue in terms of dialogue, pacing, and it's tense without even throwing a punch.
Okay.
The scene that I chose is the wood chopping scene. I like this scene a lot because there's a lot of subtext in everything they say. They don't specifically say what they're thinking, but the audience still understands what they're thinking until the last third of the conversation. And it's clear that there's some unresolved tension there between the two of them, but they're both really trying to hold it together, and they're both kind of failing in that moment. It's a moment where they're both very vulnerable because they've taken what is a really hard loss, and they're trying to figure things out. I think with the scene in Civil War, everything that as soon as the two of them walk in the room, what the outcome is going to be, and it seems like the one with the wood chopping scene that sets up how those characters feel before then. So there's not really any new information that's gained. Tony does try and convince Cap and almost kind of sways him over, but that Tony is pushing too hard from the moment that he sets down the pens on the table. That Cap isn't really going to go for it because Tony is pushing too hard.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. It's time to put the pen down. Or pick it up in this case. Go at it with each other. Like the Senate in here, guys. Come on, someone do something.
Well, you're waiting.
So Tony starts the scene trying to bribe Captain America in Wile's piece. That is a bad premise for a good conversation, because it's clear that Tony's intentions are to manipulate from the very, very beginning. And I think that it shows the character moments, yes, but we also know exactly what's going to happen before it's over. And I don't think it holds the strength of the dialogue the way that the wood chopping scene does. The wood chopping, you can see how they're feeling, you can see what they're thinking about for the future, you can see what they're hoping comes next, and their internal plans for how they get there.
You can just because here's the thing though, you might know what's going to happen in this, and I'll concede to that part. What's going to happen. I know it's happened considering the premise of the entire movie, but that's not kind of what makes it more tense. Things can break at any moment. It's a tense scene. That's the thing. And I wouldn't see as Tony as necessarily bribing. It might be with the pen and everything, but and if you think about it, Cap almost did sign the accords. He almost did agree with Tony's points. So even if it was bribery, it was still about to work. It was their characters and their motivations clashing off of each other. It's one of the best displays of their motivations and their interactions in the entire MCU.
I do concede that Captain America does almost agree, but it is because he is a good guy who wants to be nice to his friend, and because Tony is being manipulative. I don't think it's the strongest conversation because it's not giving us any new information about those characters. We already knew all the things that they're saying.
If you're
The
talking
stronger
about,
confirmation to me is the one that reveals how they're feeling. It reveals what they're thinking and what they want to do next.
and this the Accord scene perfectly showcases all that. And I don't see Tony as being manipulative. He honestly does believe it's for a good cause. And if you think about it, he's not if it's not manipulative out of malicious intent. You know exactly what they're thinking. But look at if you think about their body language, you can tell what's going on just looking at the picture alone.
Yeah, I don't disagree that you know what they're thinking, but the dialogue alone doesn't give us new information about them. It doesn't add anything more to the tension that they already feel. They could walk in and sit down. Tony could say nothing, put the pens on the table, and Captain America could, look forlorn, and he could pick up the pens and walk away, and the outcome would be exactly the same. The dialogue is what we're trying to get to here, and that doesn't mean anything in this scene, really. It's it's nice that they have a few good lines that are close to the character, but it doesn't end up having an impact.
So this is actually, if you think about it, though, this is still one of the cornerstones of the movie. It's like this is what cements them on their respective paths.
I would say that scene is resolved in the previous scene where they're all at the table and they're talking together about what this means. We already know that Tony wants this and Cap doesn't before this scene. They've already put arguments on the table for that. But this doesn't really do much except, show them that, yes, we are committing to these points and we're not backing down.
And yours is big. With that, move the dialogue, and here's just two guys chopping wood.
I mean, but they're not talking about chopping wood. Their body language while doing it. Their body language while doing it informs us as to how they're feeling. The words that they're saying aren't exactly what they're feeling, but they do inform us of how they're feeling in that moment, and they tell us what they're hoping happens next, and they tell us that they're feeling vulnerable. And I think that's a really good thing to have in this. It's a moment where these two guys who are arguably two of the most powerful people on the planet can both admit to each other that they're scared in a moment. And they've done it in this way where, they're both showing their weaknesses to each other. And it almost is, a moment that really sets up everything going forward, including Civil War. It's a moment that foreshadows all of that.
If your moment is one that displays their weaknesses to each other, this is the one that's portraying their strengths to each other. Basically, this is them butting heads at their extreme. We're not talking about what came first, or the subtext, talking about the best one-on-one. And in my opinion, everything that you said gets escalated in this scene, in my scene, because of all that. Everything is on the table.
I feel like it was on the table before that scene, though, because that conversation was already held.
But this is the best. This is the one-on-one, as I said. This takes things even further than it has before. It's basically one last desperate effort for both of them to make amends with each other, and then it just falls apart. It's a cleverly written and psychologically intelligent scene.
I still disagree. I still think that if they came in and said nothing, and Tony said the pen's on the table, and Cap said nothing and looked forlorn, and Tony, gave him a nasty look and then left, the outcome would be exactly the same. I don't think the dialogue adds anything.
All right, interesting round, guys. Very, very tense and heated, and probably kind of depending on where your settings, you're either standing chopping wood during this fight, or sitting down with pens during this fight. Either way, very riveting.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so guys, here's where I'm coming down. We're going to circle around our judges here. I'm leaning towards Jacob Wile on this one. So my points going there. Sandy.
I'm going to leave between you and Mickey fan because I have not seen this movie, and I have no kind of context here, so I'm leaving between the two guys.
No, it's based on the arguments.
I can break the tie if we need to.
Fine. Okay, well, Mickey fan, where are you coming down on this?
I'm giving it to Jacob Wile too because, like, you know, they're. I think I think that the point you were making, where they couldn't have said a word, but and it wouldn't have made any difference, was really working against you because, that just goes to show how much more there is to that conversation than the words.
But then there was literally no conversation.
Yeah, but so there.
Okay.
You're talking to a communication student here, but there's so much more conversation than just the words.
True.
Okay, so we're at the end of 3 rounds, and you know what that means.
Oh boy.
The coin.
Time for the Kirby coin. Okay, you guys feeling lucky? You feeling flippy? You wanna go for the coin? You wanna try your luck?
Yeah, why don't you flip us off, Dragon?
No, you've just made it.
I'm sure he's probably doing it behind his cameras.
Okay, anyway, all right, Jacob Wile, you feeling lucky?
Why not?
All
All
right.
right, he's gonna flip it. Completely optional. He's choosing this on his own accord.
Probably not going to work, but
Let's see.
Oh,
There you go.
Hey, fortune favors the bold. It's 2-2 right now, Mr. Gulliver.
I
you feel?
am perfectly happy to end it in a tie. So,
Contentment. We all walk away happy
Okay.
with contentment. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Brave
Okay,
and
so
bold.
now we enter the dreaded speed.
Dragon
round.
clawed throughout a speed round question that I want to start with, if you don't mind.
Okay. You mean the most recent question?
I'm not sure if it's the most recent one.
Okay. Well,
It's
why don't you say the question then? 'Cause I don't know
Okay,
if
guys.
There are a couple of suggestions.
I know. I am going to go ahead and go with which MCU movie could be adapted into a musical?
Oh gosh.
Guardians.
I can't do Guardians Volume 2.
Well,
Dragon, what do you think?
I'm
I'd allow
not going
Guardians
to do that. I'm not going to do that one anyway.
he doesn't want it anyway, so I guess we're safe then.
I said I can't do that because that basically just like picking off of
Yeah.
him.
I'm gonna help you out and say don't pick Spider-Man because we already know how that ends.
Oh, shade. Wow.
That is an excellent point.
Gulliver sass, man.
That is an excellent
I mean, there's a song in this Spider-Man musical from the perspective of the spider that bites him. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, Julie Taymor, why?
Taymor, why?
You gave us the Lion King, now you
You
give
had one shot and you crushed it.
Okay, let me
Like a spider.
Okay, let me see here.
By the way, Chloe, you're going to judge this round. You're going to pick the winner of this round, okay? Hoping he hears me, otherwise we're going to have to pick and it's going to look really awkward.
Yeah, Claude, pay attention here.
Avengers.
The first one?
Yes, the Avengers.
Okay.
Right.
All right, of course, 30 seconds followed by a 15-second rebuttal as per usual. That's kind of what we're operating on here.
Mm-hmm.
Can I change my answer?
No.
No, you're stuck with it.
I just thought of a better one, but I'll stick with mine.
You can tell us what it is after this round's over.
Yes, please. Because I have a theory what it might be, but we're going to get there.
All right, whenever you're ready,
Whoever
Gulliver.
speaks first, whoever goes first speaks first. So go whenever you're ready. Just
All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy exemplifies heroic characters who are big, brash goofballs who love to fight and get in trouble and do silly stuff. And that is the thing that great musicals are made of, is big, brash characters who do silly stuff and have a great time doing it. It also has its own built-in soundtrack. You could easily bring in all of the music that was incorporated into, the Awesome Mix Volume 1 and, make those part of the world.
The Avengers works. The first Avengers specifically works because of basically because of its smaller scale compared to especially its 2 sequels. Oh, I guess I should say 3 sequels. What it does have is a great mix of ensemble characters, an excellent plot that could easily be adapted to it, and these characters could easily have a working soundtrack and everything. Basically, it has everything you could ask for in a musical, and you could just have the songs added.
All right, 15-second rebuttal.
Am I critiquing him in this one, or am I?
Well, I mean, you can say anything else you want to say about yours. Or
Yeah,
you can
however you want to use it.
Yeah.
However you want to use your time, Gulliver.
If you have another 15 seconds, most people just use it to take down the other guy, so it's your call.
Okay. So I see this in the Guardians one. I see in the space of, you could have fights in it the way that you have fights in West Side Story, with you could have big dance numbers, like the dance number at the end of the actual Guardians movie. And you could showcase some love for, big fun costumes.
The Avengers could easily become this blockbuster theatrical production, expert choreography, and actual choreographed fight scenes. Guardians of the Galaxy would be hard to because of all the space scenes, and would basically be Rock of Ages set in space.
Ooh, burn! Ooh,
Tiki, it's not a Yo Mama
Is
fight,
it-
all right? We're all good here.
as a theater fan, I appreciate that one.
That was a very good burn.
That was
Okay,
a sick burn.
So, Claude, how you feeling about this one?
Oh man.
We're gonna wait. We're gonna give Claude a minute or two to respond here. Let's see if there's any other comments we want to share in the meantime here. I remember some other conversation suggestions were Peter and Tony from the last round. It's a pretty good idea from Infinity War.
Yeah, Gulliver, what was your idea? Your other idea?
I was going to suggest Ant-Man, because the soundtrack is already so good, and you could totally do a heist as a musical.
I'd love to see a heist musical.
I love that idea so much. Oh my goodness!
You could have giant ant puppets and shit. It would be
Yes,
so dope.
yes.
My first thought would have been Doctor Strange.
I know. I thought you were going with Strange too.
Yeah. I'm surprised you guys did not do any strange stuff tonight,
Oh,
because
we got an answer.
it's normally my bag.
Well, the night is young.
Okay.
Okay,
we're rolling.
Claude says Avengers.
Hey, Claudi's going with Jacob Wile, so that means Jacob Wile has 3 points. Jacob Gulliver has 2 points. So again, guys, just a reminder: now you both have enough points to wager.
So we all need to collaborate on a heist musical.
Oh god.
That would be so much fun, being
Okay.
100% honest.
And let's just say I knew I would say Rock of Ages the moment you said Guardians of the Galaxy, if you brought up the jukebox musical aspect of it.
Okay.
I could also
Alright.
see Black Panther as a musical, especially if you could kind of get a mix of hip hop and tribal music. That the soundtrack itself could be really interesting.
I think given the right composer, Black Panther would be a really good musical.
And you could do the costume like the Lion King also.
Yeah.
I think cooler vibranium laden. Sorry.
Utter silence.
I was just gonna say it could be like the cooler vibranium laden version of the Lion King. That was just my pitch.
We got 6 people in this call, guys. It's people are going to talk over each other. It's fine.
All right. Okay, next speed round, right?
Executive, I'm going to take this this moment to make a Book of Mormon joke based on your comment. Oh boy, like Lion King. All right, I'm done.
No musical theater question. No, I'm kidding. All right. Okay, so in honor of the recent May the 4th, which MCU hero would make the best Jedi?
Ooh.
Emphasis on hero. You know, we're not going with the Sith. We're going with the hero. Jedi.
I'm gonna go Black Panther.
Okay.
God, I'm shocked you didn't pick Doctor Strange for that.
Doctor Strange would make a great like consular, but I think Black Panther would make a better Guardian.
Okay, fair enough.
And since you said Jedi Knight, I'm leaning towards Guardian side. I also like Star Wars, if you weren't aware. If you hadn't figured it out.
Never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Never would have guessed that.
I don't have a Star Wars pop-up book sitting 10 feet from me.
I have a Last Jedi poster to the right of me.
Nice.
I have a BB-8 to the right of me.
Sick.
And Dragon is R2D2.
I'm
always
looking for something Star Wars related. I should have something
Well, you know, you can order some Baby
Star Wars
Yodas, right?
related. Oh God.
I ordered the Baby Yoda with a little bowl of soup, man. I'm so happy about it.
I would literally throw myself in front of a bus for Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacob, Wile, you got any?
Yep, I was going Captain America.
Okay, going Cap.
All right, Gulliver, you're up first.
To me, the perfect Jedi is a mix of fantastic combat skill and a perfect attunement with the mysticism of the world around them. And I think that would make Black Panther the ideal Jedi in that sense, because all of his powers come from mysticism, but he uses his strength to protect others and defend those who need it most. I feel like that responsibility, the way that Black Panther is a king, that level of responsibility works very similar to the way the Jedi do. They're protectors of this society in the vast majority of the regular lore.
I think Captain America would make an exemplary Jedi. I mean, think about it. The protectors of the peace. That's exactly what Captain America does. Maybe not so stooped in mysticism as Black Panther is in his actual lore, in the actual history of the characters, but that doesn't mean he will be able to learn those skills. Captain America is one who's easily able to pick up anything he can do, and their values and traditions are right up his traditional way.
I feel like Captain America would make a really good clone trooper because he has all the combat skills and he's nice. He would make a good like leader of clone troopers. But if you ask Captain America to meditate, I don't know if he's going to know what to do. If you ask Captain America to move something with his mind, I don't know if he knows how to do that.
The thing with Cap is he uses a blunt weapon more than he actually does a gun, so he actually would fit in right with the Jedi. And if you notice, he has plenty of quiet moments, but he's perfectly capable of using his brain just like a Jedi. I find Black Panther would just be tempted by the dark side a lot of the time.
He's got a point.
Okay, I'm gonna let Mickey Fan call this one. Where are you leaning, Mickey Fan?
I gotta give it to Cap.
Okay, man, Jacob's got
4-2.
Yeah, Wile's got 4, Gulliver's got 2. Okay, it brings us to the next one. Yep. Sorry. Okay, brings us to the next one here. Let's see. I'm tempted here because I got a number.
You guys could throw out a wager here if you want to.
Yes, you guys can. By all means,
play out.
By all means, shout it out if you want to. Because again, if someone were to enact a wager right now, Jacob Wile could win.
He could win either way.
Well, now you've just. Thanks for that, Mickey Fan. But yeah, I guess it could win. I'm trying to do the
Ooh,
upsell here.
mysticism. Nope.
I'm trying to do the upsell here, man. You're ruining my sale.
I mean, I wasn't gonna do it anyway. But
Yeah, I had a feeling I was tanking the sale. It's on me.
that's a
All right, all right.
That doesn't mean Gulliver won't take it though.
That's true.
No, okay.
Because
Okay.
I, unlike Captain America, would be a good choice for a Jedi.
Hey, Tiki, your audio's kind of funky.
Is it? I'm kind of.
Oh,
Now you're good. Just stop
there
breathing.
we
You're leaning too far into the mic a few times there.
Okay,
you're,
my
you're
bad.
good, nice. Just stay put. Okay. All right. Okay, Tiki, do you help me pick between these two here? I got a Disney Plus related question, and I got a Mother's Day related question. Which should I go
Mother's
with?
Day. We have to go with Mother's Day.
All right, Mother's Day it is. Mother all questions. Let's call it.
Thematically appropriate, man. It's this week.
All right.
We all love our moms.
Roll
Yeah, did you buy your mom a card? I bought my mom a card.
I'm actually making my mom a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, look at you.
Aren't you
fancy.
special?
I'm taking my mom shopping at a garden center.
Nice, nice.
I got my mom a gift card.
All right. We all love our moms.
Yay!
Okay.
And look, she's a mom. Right. Mickey fan, I hope you get that reference out of anyone here.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. One out of 6 ain't bad.
To paraphrase,
Binged it all.
to paraphrase Cap, I'll pretend I understood that reference.
I binged it all. It was like Bumby's mom.
It's Hagrid from the Harry Potter coaster. At the very end, he sees a unicorn and the unicorn's baby, and he's like, "And look, she's a mom."
Right.
And I just love the way he's so British when he says "mum."
Okay. All right. So, which woman of the MCU would make the best mother or is most motherly?
AKA, who would be the best mum?
Frigga.
Okay.
Wait,
Well,
if you can two people are already mothers?
okay. Well, let's just try to spice things up a little bit here. I mean, would make the best, as in like not a mother yet.
Okay, so is not a mother canonically.
Yeah, so
but-
not a mother yet. Someone has like motherly quality, or would make the best mother if they were to kind of go that way in life. So like not Frigga or Maria Starks per se. They're out. They're out.
Or
The correct answer here is Frigga. Let's make that 100% clear. The
Yeah.
correct answer here.
She is really
Frigga.
cool. We got to throw a dark
She
with a
is
number of
best
problems. She
mom.
was not one of them.
yeah, especially considering her scene in Endgame.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is tough.
There's like a whole splash page of people to pick from. So I don't want any. Like I can't think of anyone right now.
I'm gonna go with Carol.
Okay.
Who?
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel.
Get Marvel.
That's an interesting question. I'm stuck between two of them. I'll go Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
I had another option, but I'm going to try something else.
All right.
All right, I'm just gonna jump in, I guess.
Yeah.
Carol, I think would make a good mom. We've already seen how she handled being kind of the surrogate aunt to Monica in the movie, and I think she would make a similar mom where she's very involved in their life. She's very much somebody that they look up to, and tries to exemplify, what it means to be a good woman and a strong woman. Because we can see all of those details already there within the confines of that movie. Her personality is already built. She just needs the child to spend time with at that point.
I think Scarlet Witch would be an interesting choice. I mean, the reason I think she would personally make a good mother is because of her personal history. Like, she and her brother didn't have a family of her own. Didn't have a family of her own besides her brother. basically, and with the Avengers eventually basically becoming her family. Due to all these prior experiences, I think that she in total would actually be a good mother to her children. I don't think she can actually have children with Vision, but obviously adoption's an option. So I think that she'd work out well for that.
Should be a bumper sticker. Adoptions and options.
It probably is a bumper sticker.
Before we go into rebuttals, let me just say she and Vision did have children in the comics.
Yeah, in the comics, but so far not yet. We haven't seen the show yet. Obviously, we're not going to see it for a while. But
well, Vision's also kind of different in the movies too.
True. So. Right.
I feel like with Carol, we've already seen all of her motherly skills, for the most part, that have been developed. With Wanda, I think we would have to see a lot of that happening on the fly. She is also prone to acts of chaos, which might not be the best situation for a child.
Wanda's actually been trying to get away from that, as you've noticed, and we've seen in things like Endgame and in Infinity War. Carol Danvers is constantly being thrown into trouble. It's not really an environment to throw a child. I think that's as much chaos as Wanda can provide. Wanda can be more caring and everything than Carol can.
All right, need some guidance here, guys. Mickey fan, what do you think? Who are you liking in this fight?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think Wanda just barely squeaked out from the argument.
What about you, Sandy?
Sure.
Okay.
Wait, no, hold on. If Sandy doesn't have a real opinion, then
I know. I'm just responding to what he just laid out there, taking him out.
I'm just going to be completely straight up with you guys. I'm really not familiar with any of this stuff, so it's kind of tricky for me to make it a decision because
I thought you could be the impartial judge, but
and it's also more based on strength of arguments themselves rather than if you've seen the properties or not.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Tiki, what about you? You got any 2 cents on this?
Gulliver.
Yeah, Gulliver, man. Well, looking at the 2 arguments, they're both solid. I think Jacob kind of aped. 2 Jacobs. Got to be more specific. Jacob Universe A, Jacob Universe B. Here, okay, no. I think Jacob Wile just kind of like in the closing parts of the argument, I think he just kind of aped on what Gulliver was saying. So I'm going to lean towards Gulliver for getting the point here. So Gulliver gets the point. It's 3-4.
My other choice was Black Widow.
That's a good one. Of course, she couldn't have
one,
kids. Yeah, that whole thing's a big part of Ultron. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, here's a good one. All right, I think you guys are going to like this. Okay, so inspired. Of course, guys, remember, if you're feeling lucky, you're feeling wagery, by all means, speak now.
Dragon, I am going to play in the next debate just to make sure this thing gets played, all right? Because I do not want this twist to die.
All right. Okay. So, inspired by the recent Disney Plus series, what's the best prop to have from an MCU film? It's got to be from a film, and we're excluding costumes and vehicles. You can't pick a costume or a vehicle. It's like any item, any prop item from the MCU that you could have. What is the best prop to have, to own in your own very home?
The Cloak of Levitation.
Okay, Gulliver's going for the cloak.
Wait, that wouldn't technically count as a costume.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. It's kind of sentient, though.
He hangs it up in the thing.
Okay. Well,
okay. To be fair, if it's only sentient in the movies, it's not like the prop is sentient.
Yeah.
I think he knows that much, Tiki. I think he's aware of the Cloak of Levitation doesn't actually levitate. Last check.
So if it can't be costume and it can't be
That'd
If it
be
can't be
bigger.
costume
Yeah,
and
it can't be a costume or a vehicle. Let's go with something other
vehicle,
than the
then
cloak, just for
it has to
simplicity's
be
sake.
essentially it has to be a weapon or like a random thing.
Yeah, a random thing or a
Okay.
or a weapon or like.
That's really hard.
Oh, of course, the series we're kind of inspired by for this is Prop Culture on Disney Plus, which is quite good. Be a weapon, could be kind of something built into the not a giant piece of furniture from the set, but like something that's in a set per se, just not a cloak.
I would go with the computer that the guy is playing Galaga on in Avengers,
That man's playing Galaga.
Yeah.
and just have it just be just a Galaga machine.
The Captain America trading cards that Coulson has.
Okay,
Oh, there we
okay,
go.
all right.
There we go. That's a good one.
All right.
Hmm.
Thematicism, I dig it.
The Eye of Agamotto.
Oh,
Ooh.
Little
said
fun
no
fact.
costumes because I was going to pick that too.
oh, yeah.
But
Well,
that is the costume piece.
but it held the prop in it though.
But he
I
wears
think
it.
it's
He wears
less
it
of a-
everywhere.
Okay, it's a fair.
It's
Okay.
a piece of jewelry. Yeah.
For the sake of for the
Okay.
sake of fairness, we're going to exclude the eye of Agamotto.
All right.
Yeah, if,
All
if
right.
the Agamotto is allowed, I'm picking the cloak again.
All right.
Okay, okay, we're going to
Okay, fair point. Okay,
just to make things interesting. We're gonna.
okay. I'll put a nix in that.
I just love the fact that like the one
I
time
do
we
have
could
a
actually
replica
squeeze in
Eye
some
of
Doctor
Agamotto around here
Strange.
somewhere too.
But just while Jacob's thinking on it, I want to mention the fun fact about the Eye of Agamotto, though. It was actually saved by Scott Derrickson when he had a house fire. He saved the Eye of Agamotto of all the items in his house.
Oh wow.
That's pretty cool.
It's a
Yeah.
prop. All right. Stormbreaker.
Okay,
That was my
Stormbreaker.
runner-up.
Chris Hemsworth actually owns a Stormbreaker. He always pockets a hammer every movie he does. He always takes a hammer.
At that point, he'd have like 3 axes, 3 hammers, and an axe.
Well, Zach, I think it's like 5 hammers in the one Stormbreaker. So
Well, he likes hammers.
it does. Okay, we got our props. Let's go nuts. Let's get cultured.
Jump in whenever, Gulliver.
I would choose Coulson's trading cards because there's something that's very iconic to that character and represent his level of dedication right before he unfortunately meets his death to be resurrected later. But they have a core significance to that plot, and I think there's something that's really fascinating. They got these artists to do this like classic 40s pinup almost style art of Captain America for it. And I think they're really a unique piece of art that would be awesome to have on a wall and don't, immediately jump out as like a super showy over the top piece.
If you want a prop from a superhero movie like this, you gotta go all out. And what better way to go than the Stormbreaker, the one you should have gone for the even though Thor should have gone for the head, it definitely upped Thor's badassery but tenfold. It was one of the best scenes of Infinity War, and even though one of the best scenes in Endgame. You have that on your wall, you'll be the envy of people for miles. Stormbreaker is the way to go.
Own it now.
I'm loving the confidence.
Thank you.
The type of person that hangs a giant axe on their wall that is a replica from a Marvel movie and not one that's originally forged is the type of person that adult women roll their eyes at. This is not a thing that you actually want to have hang on your wall. It is cool, but I see no purpose in buying this thing.
Oh my god.
Oh, look, he has 40 Cat posters. What a nerd! It's like you really can't say the same thing about basically you can make your own Cap cards those you can be easy to come by. You can just like stab a hole in them and pour red juice on them and get the same effect. The Stormbreaker is entirely different.
Whoa, that one got
man.
heated. I did not see that getting that heated. I really didn't. I'm impressed. And also just
Yeah, I'm fighting to win.
I know he is. He's so close to it too. That's the thing. All right, let's see. Right now, I want to toss it over to Sandy, but I won't do that. I'm not gonna.
Well, Sandy, I mean, come on. You know, it's a giant axe versus trading cards, all right, Sandy? What do you think? Like
with Gulliver.
Okay.
Going with Gulliver? Okay.
All right.
All right, so it's tied up, guys.
Wait. Who? Oh, did you just throw it to Sandy for the final rolling?
Yeah, I
Well,
did. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just for the heck of it. I'm gonna ask why. Sandy, why did you vote Gulliver?
Oh, I personally, I think he had a pretty good point when he said that. Just his comeback when he said women roll their eyes at men who have a giant.
That was one of the most epic comebacks I've ever heard on this game.
I shit you not. I have a friend who is a comedian and a writer, and she has a blog that is called Sword Guys, and yes, I've dated all of them.
Oh God!
So I've heard more Sword Guy stories from her than just like
that's amazing.
Oh man,
Gulliver, if I were ever to put together like a highlight reel of the best Disney debates moments, that would definitely be in there.
Okay, so I think we're saying the moment alone, and again, the argument was solid enough as well. I think we're going to go with that ruling. We're going to confirm that ruling.
Yeah. By the way, Stormbreaker was my second choice as well, so no, no real judgment there.
I think I'm going to butcher this name because I always read off the cuff like this. Egitiv Neiman here. Egitiv, I like his idea of the cap shield. That's probably what I'd go with.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you guys didn't go with the gauntlet actually.
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet
costume.
Oh, you're right.
Darn.
Yeah,
I hate the logic. Okay, that's well, it's okay, fine.
I mean, you're right.
Shield is almost costume too because he wears it on his back most of the time.
I mean, it's a weapon. It's a weapon.
Oh, come on, that's okay.
No.
Costume.
That's definitely a prop.
That's what I say.
It's almost as if the distinction doesn't matter much.
Oh,
what about that?
Oh God.
I had a pretty good argument for the Eye of Agamotto too.
Yeah.
I love executives comeback here. Then I can leave that woman behind. I don't need her.
She doesn't appreciate Stormbreaker. Let's kick her to the curb.
I mean, that's what I was trying to say before.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say before I ran out of time.
Full disclosure: if I brought home a Stormbreaker, my girlfriend would be like, "That's pretty awesome."
Oh, yeah.
No women are really into
But
this.
I let her hang up her Lord of the Rings stuff, so that's.
Oh, nice.
I mean, top of the head again. I'm going towards Cap Shield, maybe the Peggy Carter compass, or the proof that Tony Stark has a heart thing. You know, that display version of that.
All right, guys, it's tied up. Let's end this thing. Let's take this thing
all right,
home.
okay. It's all for all the marbles now, and as you can probably imagine, I mean, you could do a wager, but it's not really going to hold much water.
I would like to do
I just want to say,
appropriate digital handshake at this point. Just to say that it's been a good run so far.
I just want to say, Jacob Wile, you were really on a roll that last round. If it weren't for that Hall of Fame worthy. Yeah, that Hall of Fame worthy epic takedown, I really think you would have won.
Okay. Then we have two.
For some reason, I handle myself really well in speed rounds.
Yeah,
you are the speed round king, Jacob.
He's the comeback kid that Jacob.
Yeah, I think that's already been established before tonight, and after tonight, it just holds more true.
All right.
Well, whether or not I win is an entirely different matter.
Okay, here's the questions we got here. Okay, choice between two questions here. Okay, one involves Muppets. Okay, the other involves time travel.
We got to do Muppets. Come on, we need to have a Muppet question every game. Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're gonna see how this
Muppets.
one. You see how this one does. Okay.
You like Muppets?
I want to be clear. Tiki approved this question, not knowing what the whole question was, but he approved the subject matter of this. All right. Okay, what Marvel Netflix character should cross over with the Muppets?
Marvel Netflix character.
Be any Marvel Netflix character crossing over the Muppets. I mean, if you want to use the Muppet Show, by all means, but just periods like crossing, meeting the Muppets. If you want to go with the ABC Muppets, whatever's points they're crossing over and meeting the Muppets.
Foggy Nelson.
Okay.
Jessica Jones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Yikes.
Let's see. So we
Jessica
have
Jones would definitely be my choice.
Gulliver's got Foggy. Wiles got Jessica Jones. Let's see how this one goes, folks. It's for all the marbles. All the Marvel marbles. One card.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So Foggy Nelson is generally an outgoing, fun kind of guy who has a little bit of baggage, but is trying to do a good thing. And in that sense, I think he would fit in well with this cast of Muppets who don't aren't always on track or on topic and are just kind of silly. He could kind of ride that silly, but still kind of guide things the way that so many of the best guests on like the Muppet Show or the best cameos in the Muppet movies have been. I can see him easily fitting into, one of those roles, or act as a bit character in one of the more like storytelling elements of the various different Muppet movies.
Having Jessica Jones interact with the Muppets, it would basically present an interesting dilemma for her. Like basically, we like present her this completely stoic, traumatized character. It's like as like this serious character, in a comically serious character amidst the sea of chaos, and that's exactly the kind of situation that the Muppets thrive from. Like the Muppets encompasses all kinds of humor. Comically serious isn't something that a very foray into much, but would definitely be a welcome face, and Jessica Jones would fit that mold.
I feel like Jessica Jones is the exact opposite tone of the Muppets. She would be an asshole to, Kermit or whatever. Statler and Waldorf would say something mean, and then she would crush their skulls, and then all the fun would be gone from the Muppets because she's killed a Muppet and she's done this like terrible, horrible thing.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And you know what? Foggy would kill it. Foggy would kill the mood. Like they're like, oh great, he's another lawyer. Let's like we need another one of those. At least Jessica would bring something more interesting and dynamic to the table. It's like, and once she gets to know them, she would still be the serious, lovable asshole that she was in the Defenders series. Wouldn't necessarily lead to murder.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove Sandy from this equation since I assume he has no idea who either Jessica Jones or Foggy Nelson are, right, Sandy?
No, I do.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Even Foggy Nelson?
Yeah. Vaguely.
Okay.
Really?
I'm surprised you know who Foggy Nelson is, but
Well,
right.
I looked him up.
okay. Well, if you feel comfortable giving an objective ruling, then by all means.
Personally, I personally, just based on what they're saying here, it sounds like Jessica Jones is a real hard ass, and I think you really need that contradicting personality to go with a group of characters like the Muppets. I think the fact that she is really difficult would really work well and really offer kind of a nice bounce off of the personalities in the Muppets. So I'm going to go with Jacob.
Mickey fan.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you guys. I mean, also we're getting some in the comments as well. Looks like there's some support for Jessica Jones. I mean, I think there are two excellent choices. I want to say that first because I really love both choices here. Okay, because again, I could absolutely see both of these working. Honestly, if Jacob, sorry, I know we got to specify. If Jacob Wile, if Jacob Wile didn't get in his last barb there about just going. One, Jessica Jones wouldn't murder the Muppets. It would just kind of be the whole lovable a-hole Defenders die. If he didn't get that in there, then it absolutely, I feel, would have gone to Gulliver, no question. But did get that in there. You got to respect and also kind of the creativity of the choice. He defended her. He didn't just kind of roll over. I'm gonna cast the point to Jacob Wile.
I have something to say. Okay, Gulliver basically your entire 15 seconds of rebuttal was honestly an argument to me for why Jessica Jones and the Muppets would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just like Statler and Waldorf like trying to mouth her off and then her just straight up murdering them. I mean, oh my god,
Which, by the way,
that's
I mean,
amazing.
Look, that
But you
sounds
got to
great,
admit,
but-
if any Muppet deserves to get murdered, it's Statler and Waldorf, all right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
look,
just saying it
if
goes
she didn't
against
murder him,
formula.
I imagine she'd like throw something. I don't think she'd outright kill him. Come on.
But still, I just love the idea of her just like let's say swearing them out, like like Statler and Waldorf are like, oh, hey lady, it's not noon yet. What are you doing drinking? Oh, and then Jessica Jones is like, bite me, like she like just goes off on a swear-ridden tirade.
Just see it so vividly.
So yeah, honestly, Gulliver, I pretty much knew that Wile was gonna win as soon as you did that rebuttal because I loved everything about how that rebuttal sounded.
It
I
just
was
wouldn't
just
be
like-
anything like the Muppets. That's the only like I agree that would be enjoyable because yeah, Statler and Waldorf do deserve to get
You
beat
see,
the fuck
I
up.
disagree. Sandy's the Muppet guy, so I think it's edgy Muppets, but I don't think it's. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm
Good
sure
at the
Sandy.
Muppets.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Sandy?
Well, Jacob, what's exactly your Jacob Gulliver's? Right?
We need name tags, darn it.
So you're basically your problem with the two crossing over is the fact that Jessica would be kind of too rough around the edges.
That's kind of what I'm seeing. Yeah, I feel like it'd be putting R into PG.
Well, if the Muppets can do Quentin Tarantino, they can do Jessica Jones.
That's a fair point.
That's kind of how I feel too.
And Jim Henson did say the
Fair
Muppets.
enough.
I mean,
And Muppet-
Tarantino was literally pitching anime vixens to Kermit, so they can get pretty edgy.
And technically, Jim Henson did say the Muppets were never intended explicitly for children either.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the original pilot was called Sex and Violence, and that's
Exactly.
He's not wrong.
Which
Necessarily.
Jessica Jones revels in both.
That's true. That's true.
All right, Dragon, take us out before we go on for 2 hours.
All right, so guys, we had a great showdown here. I'm very proud of both of you.
Proud of
job
your
with-
boys.
Yes, I'm proud of my boys, Sticky. Yes. Anyway, okay.
That was a well-fought game, Gulliver.
Indeed. Likewise.
Seriously, that was one of the more competitive debates I've seen in a while,
Yeah.
guys.
yeah.
An earth-shattering crossover for the ages, folks. Jacob versus Jacob, and we knew this going into it. Jacob would win. I feel very proud of the fact that we all called that. No, seriously, again, like two excellent fighters there.
Jacob did win.
Yes, Jacob did win. Okay. All right, so that does it for now.
On
Thanks
behalf
for
of
tuning
all
in.
Jacobs everywhere,
The question is,
we all won. Great job.
yes.
I think tonight we're all Jacob.
Yeah.
It's like a we are. It's like a we are Groot moment. It's like we are
Yeah.
Jacob. Really.
Oh,
at the
God.
end
I'm
of the day.
Spartacus.
Okay. Anyway, so again, of course, folks, any plug you want to get in there, Gulliver, before we go here, or we kind of got that in.
I kind of mentioned it earlier, but if you haven't yet, please check out hotchocolatemedia.net. You can also do it .com. It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of fun, free content that's available there. And if you have any questions or want to find us on social media, feel free to do so. I'm around.
All right.
Awesome.
Brings us to an end of our marvelous evening. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We love our commenters. See you next time.
Yeah, just to shout him out. Big thanks to executive named Nenema. I'm sorry, I don't.
Nehemia.
Nehemia. Yeah, Claude Kringa. I'm sorry, executive. You have a hard to pronounce last name. I'm sorry. Claude Kringa, Inhuman Quake. Big thanks to you guys. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. And yeah, see y'all later. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Join our
Bye bye.
marching society.
That man is playing.